Alright, this is a little Christmas present for the Maltese magicians. And it's not a book, it's not a DVD, it's going to be one little routine, but also an idea to play around with, so to get your own creative juices going. You have a card chosen, any card really, and you have it signed with whatever. And so much like, for example, you'll see there's a bowl of fruit, and there's also beer, and there's also some cigarettes. So sometimes you have to fight with your inner demons, if you will. Are you going to be healthy, or are you going to be unhealthy? You're going to be healthy, or you're going to be unhealthy. You just don't know. So this jack, I'm going to use this jack to simplify this. To not simplify it, really, to just make it so you can see it. The four jack, I'm gonna try and find you had the jack, you could have had whichever card you wanted the jack. I'll try and find it with the help of these four cards. Let me see, with the four aces. I'll try and find your card with the help of the four aces. So that's your card, yes? I found your card. I'm gonna make your card appear on your hand. We'll imagine that this is your hand. But for the time being, I found your jack. Your jack, really, I didn't find it. I mean, I have the four aces, so I don't really per se have the jack. However, you can see even with one hand, I don't really have this. I can show you with your own hand. If you hold out your own hand, if you had your hand here, I mean, you don't, but so with your own hand, they would still change into four aces, and you can keep doing this a lot. So, to give you an explanation of this, the idea is to have four aces and any X card, and all the part that gets the creative juices flowing is the idea is all you have to do is you show the aces to be just single aces, and then from there you go into whatever you convincingly show them again, and you change. And you show the change card convincingly as one card. The idea is you want to show them a single. So one way of getting into this would be, for example, if you have the card third from the top, you can then show a single. You can then show another single, and the last one as a double. So this looks very fair if you have them on top of the deck. You can do any sort of spread thing you want to do. And if, for example, if this is the double right here, so this would be the double, you can also set them on a table. You set them on a table and you go like this. That's very fairly set on the table. And then you can do an Ascanio spread. As long as you're aware of where that card is, you can then do an Ascanio spread, whatever you want. And at some point, all you have to do is steal that double card. So, I'm not going to go, I mean, I'll show you a few applications of mine, but you can come up with a million yourself. So as you go over the cards, you just steal that card into, say, Tenkai Palm. And then you can just set the card down. And you say, well, now it looks like a single card, so that's kind of nice. And then as you show it as a single card, you cop the quadruple. You cop the four aces. You apparently do this to show your hands empty. So you show your hands empty. So there's nothing here, there's nothing there. You just do this and you say, oh no, seriously, there is nothing here. So you add them on again. And then you do sort of like the first part of the lowly pass as this other hand goes over these cards. And again, you take this card singly, but as you do this, the bottom four cards get transferred into a longitudinal palm. So you do this, you go from here, and it goes over here, and so you have this, and you can immediately go back by going with the longitudinal palm cards over this card, letting them go, and just spreading the cards. So this looks extremely clear. If you go from here to there, in 1 second, I mean, you don't give them any time to think about it. You see this. And again, you can set the cards down. You can do whatever, that shouldn't have happened, obviously. So you can do all that. And at some point, I like to end, you can also do it with, if you do it with the cards like so, you can lap four cards whenever you feel like it, and then you have a single card, you can, and at some point you should probably lap the cards, or if you don't want to, you can just get them directly into longitudinal palm, and then you have this card over the table, and you go backwards with this card. So what this hand is going to do is going to be this. This hand goes back and throws the card into my lap, and this hand goes forwards and shoots. Well, it doesn't go forward that much, but it just shoots the hands and the cards into my hand. And if you combine the two, this seems very fair. Just combine the two, and the cards appear out of nowhere. They just change. You should actually, ideally, you should catch them, and you have to sit a certain distance away from the table, whatever. Just even if you don't catch them, it doesn't matter. They still appear out of nowhere. And then usually, what's nice to end with is I say, well, for example, I say a very good effect would be to make a card appear on your hand without you noticing. And I keep doing this, and I say, well, it didn't really appear on your hand. It appear on your hand would be just without you noticing. And so what you do is you do this, but with her hand. So if you have a card, this card, Tenkai palmed, and you go over your hand, this card appears because you just drop it there, and inertia leaves it there. So that's already not a bad appearance, but if you do it on somebody else's hand, so you have her, typically, you try and take a lady for this, hold out her hand, you go over the hand, you drop, that's in her hand now, so you drop the card in her hand, and with the other hand, you grab her hand from beneath. So you have the symmetrical picture. This is the reason why you went there, so you can hold her hand with both hands. You're doing this with her hand. So that's what she feels. She feels you touch the one side and the other side. She doesn't feel you drop this. She cannot put this into the correct sequence, and it looks to come out of nowhere. And it's particularly strong if before you just showed the single card, yada yada, blah blah blah. So you do this, and you say, now would you hold out your hand, and she holds out her hand, and while she holds out her hand, you have time to put this card in whatever palm you want to, and you bring it back and you say, well, I made good on my promise, this card actually appeared in your hand. That's just a few ideas to play around with, so I hope you have fun with that. There's a lot of other ways to change one card into 4 cards. Bibel, the original, I mean, there's a number of folks that have worked on this. So have fun with that if you want to do something creative. Thank you.